Namaste and welcome to Sai Interviews. And I welcome today's guest, Dr. K. Devraj, a young budding psychologist. And Manojagriti is conducting series of interviews with different professionals in field of mental health. And we have been interviewing many people, doctors and therapists, and many more professionals in the field. So today I thought it would be great to interview a budding psychologist so that the people who are still in the way of their career or ఇప్పుడిప్పుడే సైకాలజీలోకి ఎంటర్ అవుతున్న బడ్డింగ్ సైకాలజిస్ట్లకి ఒక తోవ చూపించొచ్చు, ఒక డైరెక్షన్ ఇవ్వచ్చు అనే ఉద్దేశంతో ఈరోజు లైవ్ మనము డాక్టర్ కే దేవరాజ్ తో పెట్టుకున్నాము. నేను ముందు ఇట్ ఈస్ మై డ్యూటీ టు ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ హిమ్ బికాస్ గాడ్ బ్లెస్ యూ దేవరాజ్, వెల్కమ్. సో he is today Dr. K. Devraj, but I want to read out his journey into the field of psychology from his childhood. He's from Kamareddy, Nizamabad district. So his education was into Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, Nizamabad. Then he has done his MSc in health psychology from Hyderabad Central University. And after that, he worked with Manojagriti as a counselor, and he also worked as a counselor with Pragna. Later, he was a counselor with IAS Academy, and he was also guest faculty for Tribal Welfare Department, Sangareddy. Later, he also worked in the HCU. Recent past also, he was there as a research assistant in Hyderabad Central University. Then, he continued his journey in his education to pursue his PhD from Osmania University and successfully received his degree, doctorate recently. That's where I thought he would be the right person to talk because he was just emerging in the field. Now, presently, he's one more thing I should not miss out because people are listening. So he qualified for NET in psychology 3 times, SET 1 time, GATE in psychology, and he was selected for a ICSSR National Fellowship for his PhD and also completed his PG Diploma in Guidance and Counseling from SU University in distance mode. Now, presently, he is working as a research manager in NISPRA Private Limited, which is actually All India Narayana Education Institute. He is a research and development manager there. Okay, so it's a nice feeling to interview you, Devraj. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So I thought my first question for you would be, I want to understand your education till your 10th class, because I see you are from Navodaya, Jawahar Navodaya School. So I wanted to understand how was your schooling, where was your schooling, and how you were a child.
Yeah, so thank you very much, ma'am, for the introduction. That I'm glad that I'll be, I didn't expect that you'll be interviewing me because I worked with you, so under you. So yeah, thank you very much for that. So as in when you asked this about my childhood and all, so this my schooling happened in primary school happened in Shish Mandir school. Then 6th to 10th class, I got into social welfare school where Navodaya was also option, but I could not get proper coaching. I got into residential school. Then from there, I was schooled at second Tapu. Then with the merit 10th marks, then I joined Navodaya. So there was one hope, from my family that my father asked me to, somebody from the family to study in Navodaya and also Usmania University. That was actually in village. The main aspect for them is to study somewhere in good university, that is Usmania University. So when I studied in village, I was not knowing much about what education, that what I'll be doing, I don't know. So what for children will study, why are we going to school? Nothing has been known during that time. So even when I'm in school, from 6th to 10th, so that is where we get to feed because of the government seat and all we study. So don't know where we landing. So after 10th, just before 10th, 9th class and all, we get to have this understanding that, okay, if you study, you get to have some job and all. So decent enough that you earn. So it is all that what kind of roles that you perform, what kind of work that you perform. So okay, so that and all slowly started understanding. So after going to Navodaya, then our paradigm entirely shifted that to this to a CBSE school from Telugu medium to English. When it's such a Herculean task for me to finish my intermediate education itself, because being a school topper from my school in 10th Telugu medium, it's very difficult for me to get even pass marks in Navodaya.
Yeah.
So from childhood onwards, that this much of the times, like, which we won't discuss, what familial trauma, which is being always seen in every family, that if at all, if there are certain families which are okay, which are having the trauma which is being exhibited through some of the family members. So my father is such a nice guy who is in the morning, that you can see a different personality morning and evening. That so due to his situations and all, maybe with friends, he get to drink alcohol. So that kind of patriarchism, that masculinity they get to show in the families. That so if a women is talking anything that harsh which is hurting them, and whatever they do ill things and wrong things, then they'll come beaten up. So these things I have seen, that my father often used to beat my mother also, because of always drinking in alcoholic mode and all. So this is when in my neighborhood also, everywhere, since I have seen such things in my family, everywhere I've seen that why people drink, why they get into altered conscious states, and why this all kind of, so what you now we say it is black magic and all, which I've seen in villages. There's what is the scientific basis in it. So is it also a kind of hypnotic technique that it is happening? What is this kind of ancient hypnotism? So is it happening? Is it there or not? So certain cases I've witnessed, I've seen that when people are performing black magic and all, when there's a person who in my neighborhood used to do. So I come from not a small village, but it's just a town, Lingampet Mandal. So yeah, so then after joining in over there, that we have developed a perspective that see, get to understand the structure of education in CBSE school. Since I've studied in a social welfare school, there not much known about the education, because we are all don't know how we are behaving. In Navodaya, little structured it is as a cultural aspect.
Right.
So since the selection mode of Navodaya schools is different from all parts of communities and caste background, they'll include in social welfare and tribal welfare schools. There are certain people, certain communities that include. So in Navodaya, we got to understand that how goal achieve, what oriented the students are. Then I was not having any thoughts of getting or becoming anything in my life, but just to get pass marks in my life, that my father was aspiring me to get just pass marks from Navodaya. That's it. It's because of free education. He asked me to join. That's it. So then it is. This is always it is in my mind that always I wanted to go home and stay back, because at some point in time my father will kill my mother, because he will drink in such a way that I am away from home. My sister is also in hostel. So my brother will be always bothering that it's some years that he sacrificed his life. Later, because I was always away from home, it's been 22 years. I'm in different universities in hostels. So my brother, since almost around 5-6 years, where my sister and me stayed in hostel, he sacrificed. And after some days, my brother and me came away from home. My sister sacrificed her life, that she stayed home to take care of my mother, because so maybe my father is always, maybe sometimes is different. So this, I have witnessed so much of trauma and so much of harassment which in my mother's life through my father, but I cannot blame now, because of his social situations are like that and his personality is like that. Now he's old now. I often take not so revenge, but I pose some questions that he'll repent now. So through whatever I studied, I managed to make him not drink. It's been a decade he's not drinking. So several things happened in his life that we could make changes.
Right.
So it is my mother's resiliency that as we study in psychology, that a woman is prone to be in nature, very mother nature. So very mother nature gives the brain such a resiliency that a women can have. When we see suicidal cases and all, men commit easily suicide, but women not. So around global statistics we see. So as in when we study from some biological psychology also, the size of amygdala, which is seat of emotions, which is also bigger in size for women. Women, not only women, for any organism which is developed, through proper modes of conscious aspects, even if not conscious aspect, brain as in when the organisms which are almost with proper functioning, if not frontal lobe, but other areas of brain, which have got to do with such a certain emotional aspects. That is when the size of emotion seat, if not amygdala, limbic system has been. So it is all developed nicely. So when I started studying, I can understand how come my mother used to be resilient and all. How she could have ended up in a marital relationship. She could have so several things. So which is there always poking in my mind that there is something hidden in psychology, that there is some aspect. After all, so after certain years, then I went on to study. I asked for a long term. All of my Navodaya classmates wanted to get into engineering background. Then that time I decided if I want to study engineering, I must be in IIT, or else I will not study anywhere. So
Right.
if it must be best or not. So then I did not write my entrance exam well. MSET, I was not interested joining because everybody is going towards MSET. I was rather think something different. So we were in short term intermediate. So somebody told that there is a central university which offers different courses. So we all went. There is one fellow who also worked with Geeta Chala ma'am, Subhash. We all have classmates from now. There around other schools, around 50, 60 people came to Hyderabad Central University gate. There are security guards. Still now they are there. So they told that you cannot enter into the university. University will not give you permission. Such a premier university, nobody from a village background will study here. They are all upper middle class people who are well enough in academics, and also they can study. So it's like why we waste money, 300 rupees spending applying for University of Hyderabad. But we rather came away. And there is one school topper of mine, batchmate, he told that we waste money, such a university will not get into. So we all came, but one only fellow, this Subhash, denied of all, and he went inside the campus. They were requesting security guard. Somebody helped him, and he applied for. So it's a subject which is not having entrance exam through IIT. So it is only that there is a university entrance exam, but they have offered for health psychology and nursing sciences. It's a 5-year specialized course. Then he went and applied. So I scolded him because he's a childhood friend of mine. I scolded him, why did you waste 300 rupees? It's a very precious money for us. We could have eaten biryani in paradise. We all went eaten, had biryani and went to campus SR Nagar Uppal, SR campus. Then Subhash went and applied and he came back. He took it as a challenge that he want to get into the university, wherein one of my classmates only told that we will not enter into. So Subhash took it as a challenge. I want to enter. So he asked somebody to guide him, and he studied. Then All India entrance exam, there's only one seat in ST category, he got it, and there were only 12 seats all India. That 60 people will be called for interview, and they select based on interview performance. He got into. So as we know from much of the competition, as I told, women are more prone to be empathetic and mother nature understanding. So such is a quality wherein this field, when it comes to medical fields anywhere, nursing sciences, medicine, psychology, more of women will be only
Yes.
there in the field. There is a huge competition from women's girls side in HCU. Hardly anybody from boys side, and everywhere we see the ratio. So 1:5, 1:4, like this. So Subhash got into. Then I thought of, by seeing health psychology as a course structure, got into mode of such a all childhood issues that I used to think, because I used to go behind my cattle, that we had buffaloes. So we used to work in fields. We have agriculture. So many things that I have. If not not only academics, everything I used to work. Swimming, academics is the last option in my life that I otherwise thought of. Otherwise,
Right.
everything, getting into the forest, whatever I used to do. So that orientation towards psychology through Subhash, I got to know that there is a course. Then I was doing pharmacy during Telangana movement in Vagdevi College in Hannamkonda. I joined diploma in pharmacy. So I thought of getting into Mohali for my farm. and Hyper Mohali. Then slightly shifted. Subhash told that the university is good and all. So I wanted to discontinue the course, but I somehow continued during Telangana movement. I came, there was only small internet center in my village. So I searched about health psychology, where are the pioneers working, what is psychology. 3 months I studied, wrote entrance exam, qualified for interview. So again, I was not knowing English, how to speak in interview. If you don't know, you can just act it. Okay, in theater arts, if some language, if you don't know, that you can just act it out. Even if you are not able to speak, if it is not your biological language, if it is not your, even colloquial language also, you can act it out. So I learned some techniques that how to speak in accent where somebody thinks that you are good at English. So that way I acted out that if you want to be proficient in psychology, you must be good at English. So I understand, and I went to interview and I was in waiting list. There is another fellow. So there were only 2 seats in the country for OBC candidates. So I and one of my so many of my batchmates from over there, around 10 of them qualified. And the highest competitor for me is Mallesham Chengol, who already gave interview last year. And second time he came for the interview, who also worked with Geeta Jalla madam. So Mallesham Chengol. And he was competitor for me because it's the second time he had come to interview. There are girls who came third time also for interview. So that time. So this is where some time, we see if you're strongly believing in certain things in your subconscious mind, things will tend to happen. So there was one of my classmates from Kerala who had given in 2008 exam 9 she had given, 10 she had given. So they asked, why are you so consistent? You are wasting so much time. You are coming to HC entrance. So she told, I want to study in HC. What do you want to study? They always asked, what is the difference between brain and mind? So at certain point in time, when you come from MBPC or BIPC background, who do you know what is mind, what is brain? So maybe you know brain's physiology, but mind is an abstract definition, that the conceptuality which we might very, obviously don't know at that time. She consistently was wrong in answering that question. And then she said, suddenly I want to get gold medal from university. We provided that if you give me seat in university. They laughed at her. Finally, they have given in third attempt. She told, if you will not give this time, I will come again. The same thing told by Mallesham. There is a huge competition.
Right.
And I was in waiting list. Mallesham was in waiting list. Fortunately, somebody with for fake OBC certificate went into general category. I got into OBC in waiting list. I joined August 8, 2010. So I still remember. And it's been 14 years that my father is not interested in what the course I'm studying. He had not seen me in university. Not even once he came to HCU to see me. So it is only my own life that I have wanted to, create my own avenues. So the girl who had been laughed at in interview, what is the difference between mind and brain, they asked, and she got gold medal. That she proved that she got gold medal in the university. And she proved another thing, that at that time the subconscious brain for us, it works in a way that if you in the nature, if you believe that there is certain things strongly you want to believe and you want it to happen, it will happen in certain way. So she gets to join in Deakin's University for her PhD in University of Deakin's, Australia. And she sent me one picture and she asked me to show our faculty once in a while if they are getting free time, that we are in good mood. So I showed that she had written an introduction to brain and mind course, basic course to Australian, the University of Deakin's master students. Teaching assistant is Sangeeta Thomas. He's a PhD scholar from the Department of Psychology. He's teaching an introduction. They were given as a compulsory course to teach her because they were paying $20 per hour. That the course title is Introduction to Brain and Mind, TA by Sangeeta Thomas. See where somebody with such a thought, such a concept that nobody knows. So she had studied so much into it. So without her knowledge, somewhere she get to teach it. So there are things in nature which will act for you, that so much is there on the mother earth, in the universities, in the knowledge from the perspective of epistemology. There are so many things that which act for you. If not against you, there are so many things which act for you. So that is when I joined Mallesham. We were close knit group. 4 of us are boys and 8 of them are girls. So we all who passed with from department went in with flying colors. All so many of them settled abroad. So I also consistently was a short and long runner in university. I was a national runner, athlete, and everywhere from school, university. And then I finished my course with good grades. Then I worked with madam and the welfare social welfare department for 2 years. I joined PhD. So during my course of job, I wanted to see what kind of there is also a question which is always bothering me, that there is one teacher in my third, fourth, fifth class used to make me sit near dustbin, saying that this fellow's writing is not good. He is not intelligent enough to study because his daughter is a school topper. That so there are so many things, so many factors. That time they decided my intelligence is not good. At around age of 9, 8 only, they decided, and they decided everyone's fate. Teachers decide many of their fate, not good teachers. There are maybe they are not aware. Now, I cannot say bad teachers. They are not aware of what all factors that you need to be considered, and what all language you need to be spoken out in the school. So, so that is when I understood that I wanted to prove her in my life course, that I have always remembered her in my life, that she had taught me good things, that I have seen, witnessed her daughter is taking school first ranks all of the sudden every year, that I wanted her to be in a good career, but finally she ended up getting married, not studying, not in academics, but she was a topper in school. So that is when I was a student sitting backbencher or near dustbin, that she was to give me punishment. So everything happened for the sake. While I was studying positive psychology in my coursework in university, and while working with social welfare department with madam and all, we went to schools and all, we traveled and trained teachers in a way. So I've seen whether intelligence matters or not. If at all intelligence matters, what is that biological intelligence? Then if at all intelligence matters, why people are conducting studies in nature and nurture? So what is that the factor that what is this concept called brain's plasticity, that with the nurturance, there are changes in your epigenetic structures. There are genetic structures which they change through environmental learning, that is called epigenetics, right? So that is when I have seen somebody told me that me not intelligent, several students believing that they are not intelligent dropped off from the schools. Then I thought, how come, in what way I must work in aspects of where debunking the myth of intelligence, where the role of nurturance. So, for example, when it comes to brain's plasticity in a first generation, you can do so much so that you groom your career in such a way that your next generation also comes in a good way. So as we see in psychology, survival of the fittest. So as in when it comes to resiliency, life practice for everybody, not only human beings, non-human things also. Survival of the fittest, whoever works hard will survive. Okay, so when it comes to knowledge, physical practice, everything. So
Yes.
when it comes to biological aspects also, see, I coming from such a genetic background in India, I might not be a world top leading athlete, because the genetic predisposition, genetic quality, genetics which an African who is of having been been practicing since several decades from their ancestors, I might not in such a immediately this generation I will not possess, because that is of biological which I cannot change nature. Nurtural aspect, that if I can change something. From 2011-12, I have seen teaching career guidance in schools from Navodaya school, in social welfare schools also. From 2011 till now, in 14 years, that when my teachers in Navodaya used to laugh at me also if I go to school. Till now, from my own school, I took it as experiment that it is not your intelligence that matters. It is that there are certain strengths you need to utilize. So
Right.
in 2012, we had a paper on positive psychology on character strengths, Seligman's concept of character strengths, which is a sub branch of positive psychology, which is where I derived my PhD topic, which talk about role of character strengths, parental involvement, parents as primary teachers, that they have to be believed multiple times, that I wanted to in a way that make them understand in school that the parents are primary teachers, not the school teachers. Schools are teachers are secondary. And the role of achievement motivation. if the students are having achievement motivation in what level. So these three variables, character strengths, as a parental involvement, achievement motivation, how they are influencing secondary school students, residential school students, academic achievement. So I've taken, so these strengths, when it comes to a character strengths, they are non-cognitive traits. That is when I got interest through training and nurturance, you can foster them. So they
Right.
are not biological cognitive strengths. They are non-cognitive strengths for every normal human beings can be trained upon. So I diagnosed through my research around 1240 students. I diagnosed 600. I considered for my PhD. So while I was doing my job, I understood whether this will work or not. So after joining my PhD, with the same proposal, I got into HCU, I got into IIT Hyderabad also, but I was wanting to work in social welfare in different areas, different places as a part-time fellow to do a PhD in full-time. So that's when I chose Usmania. So I joined Usmania because of lockdown and all, it went on so much time, this course structure is very difficult. So I had interest. I have got qualified in NET several times in my PG only. Set ICSR later joining into PhD. I got so after they introduced after their introduction to GATE psychology into GATE, I wrote I qualified. So I was always in academics that if you want to be the fittest anywhere in the academic paradigm, that you must be always working hard and learning and updating your knowledge. So, so then I took this topic. Then I proved that there are certain strengths that need to be trained. They ran a program in Geelong Grammar School in Australia. They have made world leaders through character strengths program. Now in Telangana also I have written a policy to ICSR about this. If at all, after diagnosing certain strengths which are useful for the academics, there are 24 character strengths, out of which 5 are called as signature strengths. If at all we are able to diagnose the strengths, identify them, train them in children, and irrespective of their cognitive aspects, they can be trained upon so that they must be utilized in all areas of life. But I am only looking into academic aspects. So, so this is when it shaped my from trauma involved in my brain to self-healing techniques of myself becoming a normal human being after all seeing so much of tolerance and intolerance in family. So all these through my mother's resilience, and I groomed up. Then I have given so much time to my sister to study and to my brother to study. Now both of them are government employees now. So I also went on to study. I was always working from 2015 till now. I was always working with an IAS Academy, schools, university projects, my PhD, multiple roles I was doing while doing my PhD. So it's been 4 months I joined in Narayana. I was also being offered by several universities as assistant professors. I'm also thinking for postdoc actually now. So if anybody is wanting to choose psychology as a subject, so that you try to develop orientation towards the subject. It's not just only the communication system. It is that you need to understand so much that there are very less many universities in India which are having practical approach to gain knowledge in psychology. So that's when I'm suggesting that you understand there is so much that in psychology now it is gaining momentum. If you see, every pandemic in the world taught us something new. Some plague in 1920, again in 2020, and there are World Wars 1 and 2. So everywhere in the major events in the world, which had given so much of room to develop psychology. In India also, everywhere in the world, after pandemic, psychology gained traction so much. So now after psychology, there are hundreds of students after this pandemic, there are hundreds of students are enrolling into psychology. So my suggestion is that people will survive if at all they learn so much. And now universities are mandating with NET as a PhD qualification. So everything and anything you want to learn, you train in certain way that your career will be good, that the training aspects are very less, opportunities are very less in our country, that in such a way that you have to train so that you will be able to deal with any aspect of psychological cases. So this is my introduction that how I grew in university. Also with my friends, I learned communication, everything. Then that they taught me that how to study. There are so many things that we are a close knit group. Understand there are only 12 of us in classroom. We studied together for 5 years. So all of them out of 12, 7 of us are doing PhDs. So almost mine is the second one. I finished my PhD. 5 of them are finishing this year end only. So 3 of them are abroad doing PhDs. So I'm also planning to go for my postdoc. Mostly it will be in somewhere in the US or Canada. So, uh, so, um, so this there must be a particular cause if at all you want to study psychology. So just for the sake of studying and you want to study this, you should not be in mind. So such a motivation that inspiration you draw from anybody else will be of very less, but you yourself draw motivation from your own internal faculties. So if any motivation that comes out of you, which is always sustained motivation. See, anywhere in schools, if I go, I will not wanted to become a motivational speaker that, heightened emotional state will only long last for, very less brief time only. So sustained motivation must happen, because if the sustenance will happen only through consistency, that your own internal faculties, that your own motivation must come through your own individual, every atom of your body, from wherein which your mind must be trained in such a way that you are taking inspiration from yourself within. So if you are intrinsically motivated only, you'll be able to do certain things. So that's what. So when I took up as a challenge from Geelang Grammar School, it's been almost 14 years I worked to get 46 students from my own single Navodaya school. I joined them in Hyderabad Central University. 46 students. And one student whom I first joined, he comes from a small tribal hamlet, wherein you cannot even find a way to his village. Very small village. I celebrated recently his success. In such a way, I groomed his career to an extent where I still remember that, to get into university, to join a university, he got all his 10 rupees notes and 5 rupees notes, where his mother was a daily wage laborer. He comes from a first generation family to illiterate parents. Recently, he got postdoc in Harvard University. His fellowship is according to NIH guidelines. He is getting 3.8 lakh rupees as a monthly scholarship in Harvard University, which is a prestigious university, and he is doing research in psycho-oncology, cancer. He had gotten patent for tongue cancer also. See, imagine what we have spoken about the nature and nurture philosophy, that if at all you need to improve the capacity of your brain, that is a neuroplasticity, it will only happen through so much of consistency that you work hard in his only first generation. See, we all believe in villages saying that their fathers are very talented enough, okay, they can do anything and all. There is a effect called Baldwin effect, we study in psychology. If at all there is a parental background, genetic background, there is that from parents it is coming, that you can perform well. For example, Sachin's son. So he had gotten genetic aspect that there is so much training. His father is a cricketer, and his son also got so much of nurturance. And then that is when he could do that. Also, he became also cricketer, but he had lot many opportunities to become cricketer. But his nature and nurturance was even more good. But the thing is, somewhere they are lacking. But you see anywhere, professors or anywhere you see in the world, a footballer son will become footballer, badminton son will become badminton player. So many things. Even Deepika Padukone is a state player, no? So there is a Boolean effect. It necessary not to be. So there are
Right.
theories that we can prove. So also, if there is no such a genetic inheritance, still you can do it, but it takes little time. So when you grasp things, I asked my desk mate that, so I had a classmate who is doing PhD in McMaster University in Canada. So I used to ask her, in such a way that you study within an hour, you grasp everything, and it takes 3 or 4 hours for me. So in a way that I worked hard, and at some point in time we reached, both of us, or all of us are getting 9 CGPA in class. So see, imagine, such is the practice you gain. So so much so that you practice and you learn things in a way that you will never, go away from anything and everything. You learn everything. So to get into practice in psychology, to be frank, so much so that you decide which paradigm you want to work, whether it is educational psychology or counseling psychology, clinical psychology, whatever. So there are so many opportunities in India which are being offered now. Go wherever, whichever part of the world and country, that world, anywhere. But become a learned person and come. When you are becoming a learned person, money will flow you simply into your pockets. So see, when it comes to money aspects also, to the level of satisfaction, to the level of understanding. So I have understood, attachment and also styles of detachment. So when you say you have reached and attained a state of nirvana, and everything that you through books and psychology you can achieve. In psychology, at my now I am 32 now. At this point in time, I have learned and everything from the level of attachment to the detachment. I have learned everything, studied. Even I am not bothered the next minute if I die. I am not bothered because to the level of all attainment that I want to learn a philosophy in life. That from everywhere, some Immanuel Kant to Marcus Aurelius, everywhere you see, every philosophy you gain, you understand that you should understand from the perspective of life, wherein I want to be in a area where I want to learn every time. So I want to learn and serve people. That's it. Money will eventually come for the survival. That you eventually get money. So the beauty which lies in the nature is only through learning. So that I have gained. So when see, madam asked, how are you being a child? See, I was a rat picker. I was, explorer in the forest. I was a swimmer. Everywhere I have no guarantee that I will survive. Okay. So I used to play hours together cricket in my childhood that I want to be a cricket player. Nothing will happen as such. At certain point in time, you will not develop everything, right? So there are so many things I have not gained anything. That exactly my true education started in university only. That from scratch, from ABCD, I started learning from everything in my UG. And there are professors who scolded me also. We can't teach you ABCDs here in university. That you lied in university and you came, you bluffed us, and you don't know English and all. So such a way that I have studied. So I'm telling now, if at all you want to study, that you make a purpose. So I will give you an example of a community. See, anywhere and everywhere in the world, which anything in nature which has suffered so much, has shined so much. So much of suffering will give you internal meaning for generations together. So that is when you grow like anything. See, a purpose and suffering for a community. I will not get into any religious and caste and creed modes here, but you understand from the epistemological perspective, a community which has suffered in the history, which is a Jewish community. You see, Jewish community from the 5,000, 6,000 years in Israel, that they suffered like anything. From Sigmund Freud to Karl Marx, everywhere you see now, Sigmund Freud, Karl Marx, and Albert Ellis. Okay, so pioneers in psychology, political science, economics, everywhere you see, everywhere in American government, everywhere from Facebook CEO to ChatGPT CEO, everywhere you see the highest intelligence is only with Jewish community people. It's just because it's been 6,000 years they are suffering like anything, and also it's been almost more than 1.5 decade, almost 60, 70 years from post World War, Second World War, and they are learning in a way that they are ruling the world now because they have suffered in history so much. So such a suffering, if you are not experiencing also, that understanding is enough that you can grow in your life. That's when I'm telling a little suffering. I can, if I compare with a, there is a person called that you have already know him, Viktor Frankl. You have seen his book, right? Man's Search for Meaning. So, Ardham Kosam Anveshana అనే పుస్తకం. You can go through online. Viktor Frankl survived Holocaust for 4 years. He was every day there is a chance for killing him. No, but he was survived. and 93 years. I think he's still alive, maybe. So such a see, I have also suffered so much in my life. That suffering, if I compare with Frankel's suffering, nowhere my suffering matches. But his work he did, which is such a pioneering work. And my life at the age of 32 years, if I can understand Frankel's suffering, okay, that anything Freud suffering, Freud's parents suffering, that everywhere you see, if you go to Wikipedia to somebody from Romanian Jews to Croatian Jews, and from Ukrainian Jews to anywhere in the world, from German Jews who settled in US, now just it is because of that pillars of knowledge so much so that the Jewish community contributed, the America is so strong. So that is when the America will always nurture intelligence. So after all, reading mind-blowing Wikipedias of all people, not only Jewish, but everywhere and anywhere who understood suffering, understood essence of knowledge and everything, that which gives you internal meaning and intrinsic motivation that you wanted to achieve something in your life. So that is when I am requesting anybody that want to gain motivation, that I am not a philosopher, I'm just a learner, I'm just starting my career now. So, but just I'm telling that if you want to be in the paradigm of learning and gaining traction into psychology, that you need to continuously learn and gain knowledge so that you can learn, study better, understand better, you can apply better. So this is what.
Devraj, it was exhaustive answer for a very short question.
Thank
But
you.
but you have covered all the questions. I have 10 questions on my table, but
Yes.
you have given all the answers for my 10 questions. So I think I will not ask question now. We will open we have 15 minutes more.
Yeah.
So we'll take 3 to 4 questions from the group. So I invite the students to take this opportunity to ask question to Devraj. Anything about, exams, anything about career. So it's, now the floor is open. You can send the questions in the chat. I will be reading them, or you can unmute yourself and ask the questions. So people are sending the message. It's a great inspiration story, Devraj. It's very good that, people got inspiration from you. So I request all the students who are here, our Sahaya students, Sneha students, please take this opportunity to ask questions.
Can I
Bhavana?
ask?
Yes, yes, Bhavana.
Yeah, so basically, I just would like to briefly tell about myself. I have more than 30 years of corporate experience, and I have seen a lot of problems in my growth in corporate. So, like how you said, like suffering makes you learn a lot. And there was one thing I would also like to say, biggest problems are biggest blessings, actually. So I want to know that I want to get into this organizational psychology where I want to help the employees. What I have suffered, they should not suffer. And I'm now 50 plus. I'm not able to do my PhD because of my age barrier and all. And I'm pursuing my MA now. So because I have suffered a lot in my career, more than 30 years, what do you suggest me I can do further so that organization employees, I mean, they don't suffer the way I did in my life?
So yeah, yes, ma'am. So thank you for the feedback, ma'am. So you see, for example, now age is not at all a barrier, ma'am. I don't consider that it is a barrier. First, so you can do anything if you want now. But the thing is, any aspect of area that you want to work and service to the community, that whichever the community you want to serve, that you learn more and understand the principles that where is the applicability which is lacking, that you identify the aspects that you need to work for and go through good scientific articles which have been published in the all platforms, Scopus, Web of Science, anywhere, that go through any practical approaches if they have developed in the area whichever you want to study. So then you might gain some knowledge in that area so that you will be able to apply into that even if you are not doing PhD. PhD is not at all a necessary to whatever you want to do, ma'am. It's only the academic qualification that itself. But the thing is, it is that upgradation of knowledge that it will happen through certain degrees. So that is when it is anything about talking about PhDs and all. That is, it's only updating knowledge. Not only someone must go for PhD, But if you are vested interest in anything, that you go through it and seek for areas, places that have applied practically, proven that you want to do something, whether you want to study, go learn, do internship, do it. Okay, if at all something which is not being seen anywhere, which you are not finding anywhere, that which area you wanted to work upon, and you try to take it as a challenge and you try to work it on so that you give a small solution that the world can also witness it.
Thank you so much,
Okay, all the best.
Mr. Devraj.
So, Bhavna, good question, and the answer was excellent. Right. So, shall we take questions from the others who are sitting here? Very quick questions so that we have 5 minutes more. Anybody else? Any question? You can type in the chat box so that I can ask the question. Yes. So, meanwhile, Devraj, can you help the students? What are the different opportunities for a student who has done her or his PG? PhD, actually, many students are facing trouble in identifying universities where the PhD is offered, and they don't understand whether PhD it should be done regularly or PhD can be done distance mode. Can you throw light on how to do PhD? Mainly our students.
Yes, ma'am. So, first of all, that it's been because since we are in regular contact, because that this I'll answer, but if anybody is interested, especially that if time permits on Saturdays or Sundays, extremely mainly on career guidance that we will discuss. If at all there is a chance that if you have a time, that 45 minutes or 1 hour session, that how to get into PhD, that not getting a proper choosing a topic, everything we will discuss. But now, now rules have changed now for this all MPhil and all guidelines, everything changed hereafter. But but anything, if anybody completed all their masters, it is there that they have to outline the area that they are also having interest in their life, that they wanted to work. After outlining that, they should search that area, whether it is corporate, college, universities, that they should see where are they wanting to learn. So actually, see, it's okay. If having interest is one thing, that going somewhere and learning is a different parameter. So we will discuss. Let them message me if possible. You can forward my number in groups. Okay, you can anybody can message me saying that which area that you wanted to work and study. Even if you are having confusion, that we'll clarify, we'll discuss, and then you can get a clarity into it. If at all, if somebody is having clarity, that I will tell you in the world how you need to search, where you need to go, where you need to learn, and how we need to explore things in the world. So my essence is, for example, highest academic knowledge, highest experiential knowledge you need to possess to become an expert in such an area. So see, for example, when I studied health psychology in India, health psychology, when it comes to bachelor's and master's, there is only HCU that which is offering, nowhere. When it comes to clinical psychology, you can only go to Niman, that which is only top institute in the country. So this is where you need to identify which is where that you can reach to learn things. So first of all, if anybody is having individual doubts, in a short span we cannot cover individual doubts, you can message me that what you want to learn, whether in what way, whether you want to interested in research or you're interested in counseling, and where you want to learn, how you want to become, we will discuss. So I will tell you, which is a long process. See, as I told you, when I told you, I joined 46 of my juniors, 46 students of my juniors who don't know what is HCU, and they all studied in HCU, they all passed out now, and so 6-7 of them are studying now, and from anywhere from Sweden to Switzerland, New Zealand, Australia, US, Indian universities, all we spread across only from my school. So that's what I'm telling. It's 14 years of work, which is very longitudinal in structure. 14 years I invested that even while I went to my Navodaya school as an alumni member, I slept in bus stop. That not telling teachers I come as a guest, I go. I never used to ask for accommodation. I sometimes slept in bus stops also, Nizam Sagar, LRD, Nizamabad, where not everywhere in Telangana I traveled. When it comes to my school, I traveled. I went almost till now around 60, 70 times this 14 years, 60, 70 times by spending my own money. So nobody of my classmates will go, they come enjoy and go. But I make it as a continuous effort in my school from 92nd batch who passed out from my school till now a student who is in 6th class will recognize me just because I go teach them every time. So it's such a consistency. If you want to make in your career, you can do everything in your life. That the thing is the yes ma'am, this which is very difficult to identify where to go and learn things. So
Yes.
to the extent of my knowledge, I will help them that they can reach
Right.
any.
Definitely. So we'll do two things. As Devraj is giving a nice opportunity, if you have a specific question, definitely you can contact him personally, or we'll invite you for one more session where we specifically talk about academics.
Yes ma'am, sure.
Yes.
Yes ma'am,
Okay.
we'll stay
So
offline. If it is good offline, then they can interact more ma'am. We'll
yes,
plan
yes,
some weekends because I'm free on Saturday, Sundays, so we can.
yes. Okay, okay. So thank you so much, and
you,
all
ma'am.
the people who joined today. And this video will be, it's not today who are there, but it will be definitely watched by, thousands and thousands of people in future, because this is the best inspirational story in the field of psychology. And I am proud that you are my student at Manojagriti, and we feel very happy to see you growing. And if you remember that day when you came, I told you that you will be growing. It is not that today you came, but you will be somewhere and I will come and ask for an interview. Today, same thing is happening, Devraj. If you remember, I told the same thing. So thank you so much for accepting, and all the time we'll be troubling you, maybe asking you for some more interviews. Okay. So thank you so much. All the people who joined, all the budding psychologists, and thank you, Devraj.
Thank you,
So
ma'am.
here we end the live.
Thank you.
Namaste. Namaste, all of you. We can stop live, ma'am. Namaste.